All right, so we're going to recreate a little timeline here of the trials and travails of the American rancher under this administration. So it started out very, very hopeful after Liberation Day with Howard Lutnick talking about the beauty of American beef.
European Union won't take chicken from America. They won't take lobsters from America. They hate our beef because our beef is beautiful and theirs is weak.
All right, so weak beef is the problem.
They're jealous
Now,
of our beef.
they're jealous of our beef. Now, of course, as I'm sure a lot of our viewers know, especially if you've been around the country, they don't want to touch our beef because we put all kinds of hormones and shit in the feed that is literally illegal in a lot of the rest of the world. You're not even allowed to produce meat that way. Using a chlorine wash on chicken, like they don't want our shit in the rest of the world. The idea that we have a superior product is absolutely ridiculous.
Right.
But hey, man, a lot of the ranchers were very hopeful that this was going to be a big turnaround for their industry. So here's one fifth generation rancher who was interviewed on Newsmax back in April, right after Liberation Day.
I see coming is more markets for us. Honestly, we've seen years and years and years of terrible exports from the United States. We import a lot of beef from other countries, which is honestly.
Yeah, it's because nobody wants this shit. Nobody wants beef in the rest of the world that is pumped full of hormones. Nobody wants that. You're not even allowed to do that in a lot of the rest of the world.
Not as good of a product as what we have ourselves. Yeah. So if we can have free trade, our markets will go up and stay consistent over the years. They're gonna jump up and down like the stock market's doing right now, and we know that. We deal with that every day out here. Commodities move up and they move down at the whims of traders and everything else. But if we have a level playing field, I'll put our beef up against anybody in the world. And many people that hear this today have gone to steakhouses in the United States and they eat American beef and they love it.
Okay, so Gunther Eagleman, of course, or whatever AI handles that account. Time to buy American products. Time to buy American products. Global beef trade about to get spicy. Grab your steak knives. Winning. Oh, not winning. Okay, so this was a video from a young lady in China. This is August, and this is what the result of these policies were in China a few months later.
China. So I'm in a grocery store right now, and I wanted to show you how the American tariffs are affecting Chinese customers. So I was gonna get some beef for dinner tonight, and I saw this. So what used to be here is American beef, but now, as you can see, it says Australian beef. And I did look around. I couldn't find one single pack of beef from America. So I guess China just stopped buying beef from America and it went straight to Australia. So the whole idea that China is hurting because of the American tariffs, well, they're not, because they're not as dependent on the US. In fact, only 18% of Chinese imports come from America. And for stuff like beef and soy, they can just go somewhere else easily. So I guess I'm having Australian beef for dinner tonight instead of American beef. And honestly, because of the food quality, I probably trust Australian beef better. And this box of beef right here is 50 RMB, which is about $7 US. So to answer the question, China ain't hurting. And if anything, I think we're probably doing even better because now that we are better beef, that tastes better and at a better price. So thank you, Trump, for that.
That whole package is $7.
$7. Well, things are cheaper over there.
I mean, that would be like, even if it's a shitty cut of meat nowadays, would prices be what they are? That'd be like $35.
Oh, here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, way to kick yourself in the nuts. And she mentioned soy. America was the biggest exporter of soybeans to China. China bought $12.6 billion in U.S. soybeans last year. Now it's $0. Zero. So here's a soybean farmer talking about that in September.
Now we're in a very dire situation. September's upon us. Harvest is starting in the deep south, and we have 0 bushels of soybeans on the books to be sold to China for this current crop that's about to come out of the field. Historically, over the last 5 years, about a third of soybean sales to China would be booked. China amounts to 25% of our total U.S. soybean crop. So that would be 8 or 9% of the whole U.S. crop would normally be on the books with China right now, and we have 0. That is alarming. The farm.
Okay, so now you probably heard that we are bailing out Argentina. First, it was with $20 billion. So, and then it got doubled to 40 billion. So our friend down there, Argentina, certainly didn't take that money to subsidize their soybean industry and steal our trade with China in soybeans, except they did. There's the American Soybean Association. This week, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent announced the U.S. government was in negotiations to extend a $20 billion swap line to the Argentine government and potentially purchase the country's foreign bonds. Almost immediately after, a reported 20 shiploads of Argentine soybeans were purchased by China after the Argentine government announced it would waive taxes on its soybean exports. Get it? So they took that money from the United States. That allowed them to drop the taxes on their soybeans because now they didn't need the revenue because the American taxpayer is giving them a handout. And they used that to steal the soybean market from us, which, I'm not blaming them. We gave it up. We gave them the money to be able to do that. The idea that the Trump administration is America first is absurd. Look at this, man. They're cutting the throat of the American farmer. And you might be asking yourself, why would they do this for Argentina? But we will get into that.
He's a businessman. He's going to look out for us. That's what we need. We need a businessman.
We need a businessman.
Businessmen don't look out for you. Businessmen fuck you.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Exactly. Especially these are modern day businessmen. These are not businessmen from 1940. These are businessmen in a post Gordon Gekko Wolf of Wall Street world where it's all about gambling, speculation, and moving numbers around on paper, and may the person with the biggest numbers in their bank account win. These are not old school industrialists as like Carnegie, like Ford, as monstrous as they were in a lot of respects. They were trying to build industries.
Yeah, they made shit and sold products.
They made things that's not what this is. We don't live in that world anymore. A businessman is somebody who steals as much as possible from you while giving as little as possible in return. So here's Trump asked about buying beef from Argentina now.
What do you have to say to U.S. farmers who feel that the deal is benefiting Argentina more than it is them, as they are
Argentina's fighting for its life, young lady. You don't know anything about it. They're fighting for their life. Nothing's benefiting Argentina. They're fighting for their life. You understand what that means? They have no money. They have no anything. They're fighting so hard to survive. If I can help them survive in a free world, I happen to like the president of Argentina. I think he's trying to do the best he can. But don't make it sound like they're doing great. They are dying. All right? They're dying.
What do you mean by beef?
She never said they were doing great. She never said that. Like,
yeah. Well, you know who else is dying? American farmers.
Yeah.
77 American cattle producers a day are going out of business. You know what that sounds like? Dying. Sounds like they're dying.
That truly is. If I could just, for a quick second, that truly is, of all the clips of Trump in this second term, that is top 5 most shocking. Because you notice she says, what do you say to the American farmers who think that Argentina is being treated better than them? And in his answer, he did not acknowledge the American farmer at all. At all.
Dying.
In that entire answer, Argentina's dying. Do you understand that? They're fighting for their life. They're dying. And I happen to like the president and they're in a lot of trouble and we're going to help them out. He completely ignored her concern about the concerned American
'cause he
farmer.
doesn't
Like,
care.
this is the America
That-
First guy. He
that-
paid
this-
no lip service to the American farmer there. You would think the guy who runs on America First would at least have something to throw out. No, nothing. That entire answer was all about Argentina's in trouble and we love Argentina, so we have to help.
Yeah. Did they? Well, when they asked him about Charlie Kirk, he started talking about the ballroom.
And the ballroom, right?
Exactly. This is who he is. America lost 140,000 farms in the past 5 years. That's 2,500 farms per month or 83 farms per day. The average age of the American farmer is 58. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like people who are dying. Sounds like they're dying. Sounds like the American farmers are dying, but you're asking them to put Argentina first. Argentina, why would they do that? So this is Merriweather Farms. This is a ranch based in Wyoming. Dear President Trump, we love you and support you. That's because you're stupid. But your suggestion to buy beef from Argentina to stabilize beef prices would be an absolute betrayal to the American cattle rancher. You don't get it yet, do you? You don't get it. I hope you watch this segment because by the end, I'm going to explain it to you. We understand there are larger economic and geopolitical dynamics at play, including countering CCP influence in countries in our hemisphere. How so? How so? How so? In what way? Oh yeah, man. The Chinese soldiers are storming the beaches of Buenos Aires. What the fuck are you talking about?
I mean, I certainly call bullshit on we understand there are larger economic, like you take their word for it when they tell you that. But I guarantee you don't actually understand the threat that the CCP poses to your fucking farm.
Of course not. But the practice of solving problems over there before solving problems here on our soil is what contributed to the downfall of our country. Americans always come last. You know, you're getting warm. You're getting warm.
Exactly,
you're getting there.
Oh my
We
goodness.
understand beef prices are high, and we admire your concern for all Americans.
Which America? Which ones?
You just don't get it. You just don't get it. He's not that into you. He's not that into you. This is getting embarrassing. You know, move on. Date somebody else. But this is not the fault of the American producer. This is the fault of politicians who have allowed BRICS-aligned entities to dominate the meat industry that participate in price fixing and who also continually lie to their customers. So you go on a little bit with a little inside baseball meat industry stuff. This is jumping ahead a little bit. The American cattle rancher is one of the last symbols of independence we have in the nation. Well, you got that right. It's symbolic because the entire industry is consolidated. But the continued manipulation and betrayal by the very people who claim to support them needs to end immediately. While only representing 1% of the population, the work is tireless, daily, in poor conditions, with low margins, without thanks, all in order to keep this country fed. We would be a failed nation if we continue to betray the very people who put food on the table for us.
I'm getting real warm now.
Yeah, there are so many voices on the outside that support you and want to see you succeed. They put them there tampons in the boys' bathroom at the high school.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to start listening to them. Your team knows how to get in touch with us.
Oh yeah, you could expect a call real soon.
Oh yeah, he's gonna call you. All right. Okay, so there are independent ranchers, but it's the vast minority. This is Josh Hawley. A total of 4 companies control a whopping 80% of the entire beef processing industry. That's processing. That's not the ranching. That's the processing. That's a modern day monopoly. The winners here, the monopolists like Tyson Foods. The losers, farmers and grocery shoppers. Yeah, and Robert Reich and Josh Hawley on this point agree. Why is your Labor Day cookout so expensive this year? Maybe because just 4 firms control 85% of the beef market, 66% of the pork market, and 54% of the poultry market. Okay, so yes, there are independent ranchers, but most of the industry has been consolidated. Why is that relevant? That's part of why they don't give a fuck about you. That's part of why they don't care about independent fifth generation ranchers who thought they were going to do something for you. Who do you think puts money in their pockets? Who do you think puts money in their pockets? Tyson, groups like this, and they're going to be just fine. Thomas Massey, this is not America first. We don't need the U.S. flooded with beef from Argentina after our cattle ranchers have taken a beating over the last several years. Bring back country of origin labels. Buy direct. I mean, Massey, look, man, I like the guy, but I don't know why he thinks that people would rather buy meat that is American, that a label from outside America would not actually be to the benefit of the export. Buy direct from an American farmer. Pass the Prime Act. America First and Maha. Okay, so what's the Prime Act? I introduced the Prime Act today. The bill would give individual states freedom to permit intrastate distribution of custom slaughtered meat, such as beef, pork, or lamb, to consumers, restaurants, hotels, boarding houses, and grocery stores. Okay, so to just briefly explain this. Okay, so the way that it is now, you can only slaughter meat outside of USDA approved facilities for personal use or for the use of employees. Like if you have your own farm, you can kill your own chickens and feed it to your own family, but you cannot offer that for commercial use. Now, part of the result of that is some farmers, only 29 states have these USDA approved slaughterhouse facilities. A lot of these farmers have to drive 200 miles, which, this seems like something that a lot of people who are more left oriented could actually agree on, because part of that is keeping things local, right? You don't want them to have to go all that distance to do the slaughtering. So tentatively, obviously, I would assume the reason this law was originally put in place, like everything else, it got corrupted by corporate consolidation, was for health code reasons, to make sure that any kind of slaughtering was done in a clean facility. But if you can address that, it seems like a good idea to me. But, and I say I am not an expert on this industry, it seems like the scale of the problem is way too big to solve it that way, to the point that this almost seems separate. Like, yeah,
Right.
make things easier for the farmers and they can sell more locally, but I don't see how this would really solve this. Marjorie Taylor Greene, quote, tweeting Merriweather Farms. I'm hearing the same sentiment in my district. Quote, we love President Trump. Please tell him to stop helping foreign countries and put Americans first. At this point, help Americans only. All right, they're still not getting it. They're still not getting it.
We love President Trump. We just wish he were a little more America first. That's our criticism.
Or America at all.
Yeah,
Okay,
America at all.
So this is from the New York Times. This is what this is actually about. Big investors await windfall from Trump's Argentina bailout. Okay. That's it. That's it. And this is not the first time. Major hedge funds, including those led by friends of Mr. Bessent, stand to benefit financially from an Argentina economic lifeline. Funds at investment firms, including BlackRock, Fidelity, and PIMCO, are heavily invested in Argentina, as are investors such as Stanley Druckenmiller and Robert Citrone, both of whom worked with Mr. Bessent when he was an investor for George Soros. Apparently, Robert Citrone made Bessent personally and Soros a lot of money. And I don't know about Druckenmiller, but Citrone bought a bunch of Argentine bonds right before they announced the bailout. Big club and you ain't in it, buddy. The Treasury's intervention on Thursday offered a lifeline to Argentina's financial markets, which have floundered as the country has faced a severe cash crunch. Dollar-denominated bonds set to expire in 2035 rebounded to levels last seen when Mr. Bessent first announced the United States would be stepping in. The peso also rebounded, although currency experts worry that it will soon come under pressure again without a longer-term fix for the country's financial woes. Now, does this make any sense to you? Does this make any kind of economic sense? Why they would be putting all this money into this country without any real plan? Like they're not giving this money to them to build a new port or to build factories or to build industries. They're just putting money in to prop up the peso. Now, this is very similar to what Citibank and the IMF were doing ahead of the Asian financial crisis. They were propping up the currency, even though a lot of the leaders of those countries, like Thailand, like Malaysia, didn't want to prop up the currency because they saw it was going to get them into unsustainable debt. So why did they do that? Because when they propped up the currency, their investors pulled their money out. And as soon as the investors had the money out, they let their currencies collapse. So with all respect to the gray lady, the New York Times, they fucked up that headline. This is not a bailout. It's a bust out. It's a bust out. That is a mob term, as any aficionados of The Sopranos will know. Now, this site, which I guess the theme of the site is Tony Soprano AI voice. The AI voice is terrible, but the explanation for what a bust out is very good. Now, if you think about what we're doing with Argentina as a bailout, it doesn't make any sense. If you think of it as a bust out, it all falls into place. This is what a bust out is.
Sum up. So a bust out is a classic move in our line of work, a way to drain every last drop of profit from a legitimate business, leaving it high and dry. Picture this. You got a business, let's say a restaurant or a construction company that's seen better days financially. The owner, desperate for cash, comes to me or someone like me for help. Now, here's where things get interesting. We loan the owner some money. And in return, we gain control of the business. But we're not interested in turning it around. Oh, no. We're here to bleed it dry. We start by overstocking inventory, ordering way more supplies than necessary, inflating the bills. They also get creative with the accounting, cooking the books, so it looks like the business is making more money than it actually is. That's how we fool the lenders, the banks, and even the employees. Then the fun part begins. We start selling off the inventory, often at discounted prices, to our buddies or other businesses we control. We make sure the cash goes straight into our pockets. And all the while, we keep racking up debts, taking out loans and lines of credit under the business's name, knowing damn well we won't be paying them back. Eventually, the business is left drowning in debt, unable to sustain itself. Suppliers stop delivering, employees lose their jobs, and the whole thing collapses. And who's left standing with all the cash? Now there's...
All right. So does what we are doing in Argentina sound like a bailout, or does it sound like a bust out? It's a bust out. Who's going to benefit from all this beef that they're moving up? The four major suppliers who are going to get this cheap beef to process. This is a bust out. They're using Argentina as the business that they're running up debts on, and they're pocketing the money from those debts and robbing the country. Now, for educational purposes, there's a great scene about a bust out of a restaurant in Goodfellas. I made a little mashup to bring the point home.
Also, Paulie could do anything, especially run up bills on the joint's credit. And why not? Nobody's gonna pay for it anyway. And as soon as the deliveries are made in the front door, you move the stuff out the back and sell it at a discount. You take a $200 case of booze and you sell it for $100. Doesn't matter, it's all profit. And then finally, when there's nothing left,
Fucking shame.
when you can't borrow another buck from the bank or buy another case of booze, you bust the joint out. You light a match.
Help reaching anything?
All right. So that's what's actually going on here. So going forward, if you're perplexed, why are they doing this with Argentina? Remember, it's not a bailout, it's a bust out. They're robbing the country, and they have access to the greatest money printing machine in the history of the world, the U.S. Treasury. They're just going to keep printing money until they can't prop up this country anymore. Once their investors have all gotten paid, once they've looted it for every dollar, every dime they can get out of it, they're going to do what they did with the Asian financial crisis. They're going to pull all their money out, and they're going to let the Argentinian economy completely collapse. And what they're going to tell you is, the structural problems left over from Marxists. We're never in control of the country, by the way. It was just too much. It was just too much. It couldn't be fixed. We tried.
Yeah, and Malay got taken for a ride because, look, I mean, on the surface at least, you think, well, the benefit of pimping my country out to the empire is that I'm going to attract all of this investment. And the more investment I attract, the less likely they are to let us fail, because when we fail, their oligarchs fail, right? Unless you could do it this way, right? Unless you have this trick up your sleeve. And yeah, of course, that seems like what's going on here. What's going on here? Who stands to benefit from this, right? The same people who always benefit from everything. Neither the working class of America or the working class of Argentina. This is why, like, international workers' solidarity is so important, because you see right here, these people, I mean, for all their America First bullshit, they don't give a damn. They don't give a goddamn, right? They'll sell you out. You, the American cattle rancher, are every bit as disposable to them as the Argentinian worker. You are not a hair above the Argentinian worker in the eyes of these people. Not at all. Not at all. They will fuck you just as fast and just as hard as they fuck them. They don't care. They don't care. That's why when they push all this culture war shit on you and all this nationalism shit and all this anti-immigrant shit on you, they're just making a sucker out of you.
Yes.
You are worth no more to them than the South American worker. None. Not a lick. The only thing that makes you ever so slightly more valuable is that you can vote for them. Right. You can vote for them. Right. Right.
These are transnational oligarchs. In the end, their people are other rich people, no matter what country they're from, just like all aristocrats, right? What do aristocrats do? They marry other aristocrats, right? They socialize with other aristocrats. Those are their people. You are not. They'll take your worship and adoration when they go up.
They use you to get power.
Sure. When they go up with a chainsaw, I mean, they love you cheering for them the way that an aristocrat loves if the peasants buy into the myth of their own elevated status, right? They love seeing the peasants cheer for them, but you're a fucking peasant to them. And the second that you speak out or challenge their power or thwart them in any way, they'll kill you. They'll kill you. They could care less if every American rancher tomorrow gets in the same building and gets blown up by a gas leak. They're not going to lose a lick of sleep over it. They do not care at all what happens to you, as Keaton says. Culture, all of this, they use their proxies like Benny in the Closet and Cat Turd and all these people to feed you all this nonsense. Meanwhile, they are literally criminals and gangsters. They're criminals and gangsters. I just showed you a bust out. That is a classic mafia move, and that's how. This is not the first time that they've done this. They've done this repeatedly. They've destroyed countries repeatedly by loading them up with debts, having their investors pull their money out at the peak, and letting the economy collapse. Argentina is just the latest in a long line of countries that they've done this to in coordination with the IMF.
Please clap.